Hey you all, I hope your day is going great. In this video you will learn how to customize the admin view. By the end of this video you will know how to register and unregister models from the admin view, how to add filtering, how to add a custom input field and a button that triggers an action on all objects, and even how to change the look of your admin page using the django-suit package. Let's get started. As always, you can go grab the starting point for this tutorial on GitHub. I'm going to have a link down in the description. As you might see, we have a snippet model in the models.py. Let's first of all create a super user so we can access the admin view. Manage.py create super user. Then we'll choose user as the username, that's fine. And then a simple password. Then we can run a server. Now we are on /admin and we can log in with our credentials. And as you can see, we haven't yet registered the snippet model. So let's go ahead and head to the admin.py file. First of all, we want to import the snippet model, of course. From .models, import snippet. Then we can call admin.site.register snippet. And as you can see, we get our snippets now. And on the other side, you can of course also unregister snippets. So let's call admin.site.unregister. We're just going to unregister the group model, which is there by default. So let's import it from django.contrib.auth.models import group. We can also do some more basic actions such as customizing the site header, admin.site.site_header. Let's set this to admin tutorial dashboard, and you will see it changing. Next up, let's dive deeper into the customization of the snippets list view. What you can also do is pass this register function in an admin class. Create the class called snippet admin, which has the subclass from admin.modelAdmin. And in here we can specify a variety of attributes, for example the exclude, and I set this equal to title. And now we of course have to pass the snippet admin to our register function. And you will see that the title now has disappeared in our admin view. We can also, instead of specifying which fields to hide, specify which fields to show. So let's set fields equal to title and then remove this option. And now we only get the title. We can also customize which fields are already previewed to us in this view. So let's go ahead and set list_display equal to title and created. And you can see that instead of only getting the title, we now also get the created option displayed in our list view. Then there's also the list_filter. And in here we can specify which options we would like to be able to filter by. For example, if we chose created, you see that in our sidebar now we get this filter. And we can, for example, set today or past 7 days, but of course they don't match any snippet. Now that we covered the basics, let's try to add some more functionality to this admin view. And for this purpose, let's go to our models.py and add another field called font_size. And for simplicity, we are just going to set it to a models.integer field. And now make sure to manage.py make the migrations and select option 1, and we're just going to set the default font size for the objects we already created to 12, and then manage.py migrate. And what we now want to achieve is basically have an input and right beside that a button, and as soon as we hit that button we will use some JavaScript to get the value out of the input and then modify all of the snippets we have in our database to have exactly that font size which we entered in. And all we have to do to change our template is basically go in here and set the change list template. And now we can specify where in our templates this custom template we're going to create is going to be sitting. So let's locate this under admin, snippets, and snippets change list.html. There's a reason for this name. We're going to look at that in a minute. Now inside of our templates directory, let's go ahead and right click, create a new folder, admin, and in the admin folder another folder called snippets, and in here we want to create the snippets_change list.html. What we now have to do is extend from the change list.html template which Django of course provides us with by default. And as soon as we do that, we can then of course customize the blocks if we want to. And that's the approach we're going to use. So extends, and it's located under admin and change_list.html. We can now override the block, which is called object-tools, and then end block object-tools. And at the end of this, we want to call block.super, just to make sure that everything that is included by default will also be included. So in here we can create a new form and give it an ID of font size-form, and then the method is going to be post. And of course, because we're using a post form, we have to include the CSRF token. And then let's include an input with the name of font size, and then class we can set to vTextField. Because if we go ahead and inspect the default input fields, you will see that they have a class of vTextField, and this way we just get the same look. And then we want to have a button for actually submitting this entire form, and then type is equal to submit, change font size. And then we are going to have a break statement just for some separation. And now we actually have to set up the script for changing the action on the form as soon as the field changes. But don't worry, it's going to be quite simple, and I'm going to walk you through the entire thing. First off, we want to get the entire form from a DOM in a variable. Let font size form equal to document.query selector, and we want to select it by the ID, so hashtag font size form. And then we want to add an event listener for as soon as the input changes. Font size form.query selector. We of course have to choose the input first, so input that has the name of font size, which is this one. Then we want to call .add event listener, and this should listen for the change event. And if that takes place, we want to call a function, and in this function we want to set the font size equal to e.target, which is the input field, because the e is just the event, and then .value. And now we have to change the action of the form to actually redirect us to the correct view as soon as we enter in the desired font size. So set font size form.action equal to font size and slash plus font size and plus another slash. So we're here, and you will see that we have a new input field and a change font size button right here. Let's right click and inspect. And you see the form. So if we enter in the value of 10 and then click away, you will see that the action is now font size 10. And if we enter in 11 and then click away, it's going to be font size 11. Awesome. So what happens if we now click on the change font size? And the reason why nothing happens is because of course we haven't yet set up any URL to live under that path we just specified in the action. And for this we need to go back to the admin.py and override the function which is called getURLs. So first we need to get the URLs which are there automatically by default. So let's set URLs equal to super.getURLs. Then let's specify our custom _URLs. And we want to create a new path inside of this, which leads to font size, then an integer argument, which we call size. And of course, this has to resemble our action from the form for it to work. And as soon as that is hit, we want to call the method self.change font size. We are going to create this in a minute, but first of all, let's import the path from django.urls import path. And then we can create a new function called change font size that takes in the self, the request, and the size. Okay, and just for convenience, let's now print the size, and we'll see if anything happens at all. Well, of course, we also have to return the custom URLs plus the URLs because we are overriding the entire function. And now let's type in 20 and change font size and return none because of course in our function we haven't returned anything, but still we get printed out 20. So instead of just printing out the size, let's call self.model .objects.all, and then call the update and set the font underscore size equal to size. Then we can also give a message to the user, self.message user, pass in the request, and then font size set successfully. And then we want to return an HTTP response redirect to .. just one directory back, and of course from django.http import HTTP response redirect. Let's set the font size as 31. And you see that now all of our snippets have the font size of 31. Awesome. That's how you can add custom interactivity to your admin dashboard. I think that's quite cool. Go in here and create a new function called font size HTML display. I don't know about the name, but it's going to be fine for our case. And this takes in the self and object. And it's a nice function we can use for this purpose. So let's return format underscore HTML. And with an F string now, we can type in just some HTML we want to display. So as a span, let's set the style equal to font size. Then we of course have to include the object.font size in here to have the correct font size for the individual object. And then pixels after that, let's choose a closing tag. And between the span tags, we of course want to have object.font size still displayed, because this of course shouldn't change. We still want to see the number. And we can import the function from django.utils.html. So instead of now using the font size like this, we want to actually display the font size HTML display. And if we refresh, you of course see them both displayed bigger because they are the same font size. And let's now go to the H2 snippet, and you will see the different font sizes in different font sizes. Yeah, of course you can go fancier with this, and it will be a problem if we now change it to like, I don't know, 500. That's quite big. For example, we can set display underscore size equal to object.font size if object.font size is smaller equal to, let's say 50 or 30, else it's going to be 30. And then let's just use that value like this. And then of course 30 as the actual HTML font size would be the maximum. And you can go of course in the other direction as well with making it a minimum, but I'm going to leave that to you. And you can also, if you want to, include the body preview as a read-only field, for example. So let's set read-only underscore fields equal to body underscore preview. And in this case, of course, it's short as well, but that's just to say that you can also use your model methods as a field to display in the admin view. And you can also go ahead and add your own fields inside of this admin view if you want to. But yeah, I'm going to leave that to you to explore. And next up, we're going to be using a nice package called django-suit, which is free to use for non-commercial use. And the setup is quite simple. We only have to pip install django-suit. And now let's go inside of our main folder and create a new file. I like to do it in there called apps.py. So first off, from suit.apps, import django-suit config. And then we can create a new class called suit config, which subclasses from django-suit config. And now for example, let's set the layout equal to horizontal. And when including it inside of our settings.py, you can scroll down and before the admin, let's install sampleapp.apps.suit-config. And you can see now this new look, which I think is a good alternative to use if you prefer this. And you can also set the, let's go back to our apps.py. You can set the layout to vertical. And I think this looks awesome as well. If you want to, you can go ahead and dig deeper on the documentation, but I'm going to leave it at that for this part. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you want to, you can go ahead and check out my free Python OOP class, which is going to teach you object-oriented programming in Python. Again, you can find the link down in the description. Leave a comment down below if you liked this episode. I hope to see you inside of the next one, and cheers!